Hi, hello, I'm Darby. Welcome to my channel. Since my last video, I have read 4 books from the perspective of the villain. I read the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, The Art Thief, Yellowface, and The Talented Mr. Ripley. And not only are these all stories about villains, they are stories about a specific kind of villain, a doppelganger, a person or creature that murders you and replaces you by taking over your life. I thought it would be fun to rank these villains by who did it best. Who is the biggest baddie? I will award them points based on their loot score, how much did they earn as a result of their duplicity, and their evasion score, how well did they avoid capture. And one lucky recipient will receive the doppelganger crown, based on how well they replaced their target. There will be spoilers, so if you care about the ending of The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, The Art Thief, Yellowface, or The Talented Mr. Ripley, here is your encouragement to go read those books and then come back to this video. And if you've already read these books or you don't care about spoilers, here we go. Coming in at number 4 at the bottom of the list, we have June Hayward from Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. Her crime? Stealing a manuscript from her dead Asian friend, publishing it under her name, and then race-bending it like Rachel Dolezal. If you want a speedrun of every book publishing community drama in the last 5-6 years, this is your book. We've got American Dirt, we've got Bad Art Friend, and somehow Kuang anticipates the Goodreads 1-star review fiasco that happened maybe 5 months after Yellowface was published. What is her loot score? This was kind of hard to calculate because June Hayward never explicitly states how much she's made. She does say she's not a millionaire, and she does say that she could not work and still live comfortably for like a decade. So yeah, I think between 500 or 800 grand seems like a good estimate, which makes her loot score the lowest out of the 4 we're talking about today. Her evasion score, 3 out of 5 stars. She was eventually discovered, but only after 2 years of being under the microscope. She was under intense public scrutiny, and she still entrapped, lied, and stole her way to the top. I don't have to like her, but I have to respect the game she played. I don't want to give her the doppelganger bonus because I think someone else in this list did it better, but I do have to call out the fact that she adopted many of Athena, her dead friend's characteristics, mannerisms, interests, and of course her career. These parts of the book are the ones that make my skin crawl the most. Coming in at number 3, we have Stefan Breitwieser from The Art Thief. This is the only nonfiction book on the list, but it reads like a thriller. I really enjoyed it. His crime? Stealing around $2 billion worth of art with only a screwdriver and a loose-fitting second-hand Armani suit. He has a similar villain origin story to someone else on this list, Coriolanus Snow. He came from minor nobility and wealth and enjoyed living in a golden, glittering, well-decorated French home with his dad. But then, after his parents split up, he had to live with his mom under much more modest circumstances. He became obsessed with the pre-revolution art and furniture that made up his childhood home. And because he could not purchase them honestly for himself, he decided to steal them instead. He never sold anything because he was ultimately not in it for the money. He just wanted beautiful things. He wanted to live in a treasure chest. His loot score, I think, is a little controversial because I question the $2 billion price tag for his crimes. A good amount of what he stole had never been auctioned off, had never been appraised. It went from private collection straight to a museum. I think this is a case of fluffing the numbers for the insurance money. Regardless, I think a dollar total that's between 7 and 8 digits makes a lot of sense to me. Evasion score, 4 out of 5. He was active from 1994 to 2001. That makes it about 7 years, which means he outlasted our previous villain by 5 years. And he only confessed to the thefts after a month of intense police interrogation. Number 2 on this list is the talented Mr. Ripley. His crimes: murder, forgery, malicious impersonation, wire fraud. The movie adaptation of The Talented Mr. Ripley is one of my all-time favorites, and so I finally got around to reading the source material, and this is a rare case of, I think, the movie being a lot better than the book. But the book is still a very solid thriller. We follow his journey of ingratiating himself into this social circle of rich American expats, before finally taking over Dickie's inheritance. So what is his loot score? The amount is once again not explicitly stated in the books, but I did some very brief internet research to see what is a realistic amount of money that the heir of a shipbuilding company could receive for his inheritance. And on the low end, it's probably something like $5 million, but on the high end, it could be as much as $1 billion. And for that reason, I think his loot score is higher than the previous 2 villains in this list. His evasion score is a perfect 5 out of 5. He is never caught, he is suspected, but even his haters have come around to believing his story, that Dickie Greenleaf was depressed and killed himself. And he is also the recipient of my doppelganger bonus. After he murders Dickie, he does replace him in a way that none of the other characters on this list do. After murdering Dickie, he presents himself, he introduces himself as Dickie, he impersonates Dickie over the phone, he signs letters as Dickie, purchases an apartment as Dickie. He literally lives Dickie's life. Moving on to the winner, the #1 villain on my list, the sneakiest snake to undulate his way to the top, we have the one, the only, Coriolanus Snow from the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. His loot score is the highest. Not only does he receive his friend Serjanus's inheritance, he will control an entire country's army, economy, and society, which I think, out of this round of contestants, makes him just the indisputable best villain to ever do it. So that's it for this video. Your gentle reminder to like the video if you made it this far, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.